that is coming from the right hand side corner, that is giving the highlights to your body. And the second light source is being used to lit your glass, that is the hood and the glass, that is at the left hand side corner. So two light sources are used. And in the last picture where we have all the lenses and the body in the middle, so this is also a single light source picture. Only a main light has been used, that is coming from the left hand side corner, so that you can see a rim on each and every lenses and the body, and you can't see any of it on the left hand side corner, right? So this is the first slide that we can see. Now we'll go to the next. Fine. So now we have jewelry right now in front of us. So in jewelry also, the thing is, jewelry is from for me, I guess jewelry is hard to click. Jewelry is hard to click because they are shiny objects, right? They are shiny objects. There are a lot of reflection in these pictures, in these objects. So we have to keep in mind uh, how we can reduce the highlights of the pictures, right? So that is the main thing that you have to keep in mind, right? And in this picture, and the first picture that we can see, that is in the left hand side corner, with these coins and that necklace in the left hand side. So this is a uh, single picture, single light source in this picture. The light is coming from the right hand side corner, right? And you can see the shadow that is being formed after every coin in the left hand side. So this is the technique from which you can find out where the light is coming. You'll see the shadow to the opposite side of those objects, right? You can see each and every coin has a shadow at its left hand side corner. So that is the reason the light is coming from the light right hand side, right? And in the second picture, the red velvet and the gold necklace, in that picture, the we have used two lights. You can see the reflection of both the lights in the in the pearl that has been used in the necklace. They have two reflections on both, on pearls, and on both the ended on ends, right? So the only thing in in jewelry photography you have to keep in mind, that how you can minimize the reflection that is being produced by these objects, because they are shiny objects, right? And the last picture, it is also a single light picture. Only a main light is used, no fading light, no other light are being used. So the two pictures are used, are being clicked in a single light source. And the red one, the red velvet cloth, that has two lights, because it was shining and we were not able to control the reflection. That is the reason we have used two light sources. Yeah. So the next is beverages or liquor or perfumes. So one more thing, in glasses, the point is the glass is the thing that reflects most. So we have to keep in mind that how we can reduce these reflections in glass. So that is the reason for me, the for clicking liquors and for clicking these bottles, it was very difficult, because we were not able to reduce these lighting, reduce these reflections that we are getting on these glasses, right? So in the left hand side picture, the Jägermeister, we have used I guess four lights. One light source you can see at the left hand side, a a very thin rim is there on the left hand side of the bottle. You can see a rim starting from your cap and going to the bottom. That is the second light that is being given a fill light. A light is used to lit the background. You can see the background it is lit a bit. And the fourth light is being used to lit the glass separately. So four light sources are being used in this picture. The left picture, that is a perfume. In this picture, two light sources are being used. One light source to lit the bottle, that is the main light that is coming from the front. And the second light to lit the sand dunes, that is from the back left corner. That is the reason we are getting a shadow at each and every sand dunes. You must be seeing the sand dunes, right? So the second thing is that. Fine. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite object to shoot, spices and food. And the best thing is spices is we can click these pictures without using a studio light. These pictures are can be clicked with natural light source. You don't need a studio light each and every time, but studio light are good. They give a sharp thing to your picture. But if you don't have studio light, it is not necessary. You can click these pictures without studio light also. In all these picture, a single light source have are been used, that is coming from in the first picture it is coming from the right hand side corner, and rest two pictures it is coming from the left hand side corner. You can see the shadow that is being formed in the first picture to the left hand side of these spices, and rest each and every spices, the light is coming from the left hand side and the shadow is being formed in the right hand side. I'll zoom it a bit and I'll show you. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so we can see these shadows that are being formed beneath these little spoons. So from the shadow we get to know from where the light source is coming. So shadows and highlights are very important part of a picture, right? You have to work on shadows and highlights. Shadows are your darkest part of the picture and highlights are your lightest part of the picture. So these two things are a very pioneer things that you have to keep in mind in photography. And with these two things you have to keep in mind histogram is one of the very important graph that we have to study. Since I was not in college, since I was not in Seamedu, I wasn't knowing what is histogram. I just saw a fancy curve that was being drawn above each and every picture when we click info button, but I wasn't knowing what is a histogram. So histogram is basically a graph that represents the current tonal range of the picture, right? So the tonal range can be explained as it is the amount of brightness in the picture, how much your picture is pure black, how much your picture is pure white, and how much is gray. So this is the histogram, right? And histogram is one of the important thing that you have to keep in mind before clicking a picture and after clicking a picture. Histogram will let you know that what if you are not getting a clipping in the pictures. Clipping is basically, you can understand clipping while if the white have if your colors that is white and black have no details, that means your picture is getting clipped. So that should not be there. Your picture should not get clipped. Your white should have details, your black should also have details in the picture. So that is the reason why you should give more emphasis on shadows and highlights. These are very crucial thing that you have to keep in mind before and after clicking a picture. That how my shadows are being formed, how my highlights are being formed, right? So these are the two very important things that you have to keep in mind before and after clicking a picture. So the next is food and beverages. So this is also one of my favorite genre to work on. I have worked in a lot of restaurants and restaurants in Pune, and I love clicking these pictures. The best part is you get to eat the food that you click if it is freshly cooked. So that is the best part in food and beverages photography. So the only picture in this, the left hand side corner picture that is at the bottom, the blue plate and the fish in the bowl, that pictures only have a studio light. Rest two pictures are clicked in a natural light, right? You can see the difference between a picture that is clicked in a natural light source and a picture being clicked in a studio light source. So product there are few genres that is for I've given example that is spices, food, where you if it is not necessary that you should have a studio light. You can work if you have a natural light source. You can click these pictures at your home. Only thing that you have to keep in mind is lights. See, photography is all about lights. If we segregate that term for me, if I segregate that term photography, photo comes from the word photon. Photon is the smallest unit of light, and graphy can be explained as measurement or calculation. So in total, photography is your calculation or measurement of light. So unless you'll not understand how light works, you'll not be able to understand how photography works. So light is a very crucial the most crucial part of photography. So understanding light is very important in photography. What is the characteristics of light, how it works, how it get reflected, how we can reduce light, how we can increase light. So using reflectors, cutters, modifiers to control your light is an important part. So you can use this thing, you can use a reflector, you can use a cutter, you can use a modifier at your home. You can make this thing with chart papers, with blackboards, and you can use this object and you can do product photography at your home. If you don't have a studio, not an issue, you can do these stuff sitting at home. So this is all about food photography. So the next is live event. The live event was the thing that I started doing when I was in my engineering itself. I used to take projects on events and live shows. And in events and live shows, the most important factor is your object is not in your control. The light is not in your control. You have to be at a perfect place and have a perfect location on a perfect time to click these pictures. It is some about luck also in live events that you'll get a brilliant picture, but not every time. But sometime it's about luck that you'll get a brilliant picture. So in the left hand side corner, this picture was being clicked in the Times of India, the Fashion Week that was in Pune. The model is Ria Sen, I guess. Yeah. And in the rest two pictures, it is the Punjabi singer Diljit Dosanjh. He was performing live in Pune. So these pictures being clicked over there. So if you see the picture of Diljit, that is the top picture over here. So you'll understand if I'll not be standing at the position I was standing, I'll not get this picture. The shadow that I'm getting off his leg, these smoke, a little bit silver that I'm getting of Diljit, it won't be possible if I was not standing at that position at that time. So in live events, your positioning is very important. And before that, in live events, the most important thing is you have to be present before the event, approximately 1 to 2 hours before the event, to do recce, right? Recce is very important in live events. You should have knowledge of from where the light will come, where the crowd will be there, where I'll be standing, from where I'll go to where, right? So in live event, recce is very important before the event. You have to be present before the event in every live event so that you'll get best pictures. And the only obstruction in live event will be audience. You can't do anything with that. You have to manage your work with the audience. So these factors are there that you have to keep in mind for live events, right? So the next slide will be people and portraits. Fine. So people and portrait also sometime, I'll say half of the time, depends upon the people that are being clicked. It is not dependent upon you, because if I'll talk about the first picture, that old guy carrying the bundle of newspaper didn't know that he was being clicked, and today he is being presented in a webinar. So all you need is a telephoto lens, sit at a perfect spot in a crowded place or in a market, and click bundle of pictures, and no one will know that they are being clicked, and you'll get perfect candid pictures over there. And sometime it is necessary to have a conversation with the people you are clicking. In the second picture, that old lady, and in the last picture, these five kids, I had a conversation of approximately about 10 to 15 minutes with them, so that I can know what in which mood they are in. I can take permission that can I click your picture or not. Then only I'll click the picture. So in people and portrait, it's two things, or else you click anonymously sitting somewhere using a telephoto lens, or if you have a portrait lens, you have to have a conversation with your people so that they'll be comfortable while they are getting clicked. So this is a very important thing that you have to keep in mind if you are doing portraits and people, right? Okay, the last slide will be wildlife for us. So wildlife is one of my favorite genre, and it is my favorite genre because I always wanted to be a environmentalist when I was a child, and I always feel attachment with these wildlife creatures. and they are very similar to live events. They'll not perform according to you. They'll do whatever they want to do, and you have to be at a perfect position with a perfect setting in a camera to click these pictures, right? And the first picture that we can see is a red painted stroke, yeah. And these pictures were clicked in Bhigwan National or Bird Sanctuary. It is in Maharashtra itself, and they are famous for flamingos that migrate every year over here. And the most important thing in wildlife photography is patience. You have to wait for hour, 2 hour, 3 or 4 hour, how much I can't say the time, that you have to have patience and you have to sit there, you have to be at a perfect spot to click these pictures. And I'll say in every genre of photography, patience is a very important aspect and a characteristics in photography. You have to be a patient guy, you should have patience, then only you'll have a perfect picture, right? Patience is the key in photography. You have to keep in mind that patience is the key. And if you if you know the spot, if you know their behavior in wildlife photography, you'll get perfect picture each and every time you go in their places. So studying their behavior is very important. You have to know that how their behavior is. You have to know that from where, because in wildlife photography there's only one light source, that is your sun. You should have knowledge, and you should be a time constrained people. If you are doing wildlife photography, you should set your time that at this time the sun will be at this position, and I'll be standing there, my creature will be standing there. So these important things has to be there in your mind before you are clicking the picture or before you are going to the location. So these are the important factors that you have to keep in mind before clicking a wildlife picture. So I'll end my slide to this. And I think I have is everyone have questions. My friends that are there in photography that were there in college have few questions regarding marketing, regarding cracking the leads in photography, how to crack leads, how to have a conversation with your customer. So for that, I'll say, please be confident. Marketing is one of the very important aspect in photography. See, there are two things. If you have a very strong portfolio, you can reduce your marketing skill by some percentage. But if you have an average portfolio, if it is fine, it is a good portfolio, not so brilliant, not so exclusive portfolio, you should work on your marketing skill. Many a times you can do it. Many a times you can crack the lead only by talking to your customer. No need to show your portfolio. I have cracked leads a lot of time only by only by talking, only by having conversation with your customer. See, the point is you have to agree to each and every service that he wants, whether you have performed that service or not. At the time of talking at a time of conversation, you have to agree to each and every point that he's saying. So, and I'll in my career I worked in Byju's for some time. After pursuing my engineering, I worked in Byju's as a marketing guy. I was in sales. My department was sales and marketing. So that is the thing, I never regret anything in my life. My engineering, my job, my corporate life, each and everything has something to give to me at the spot. I don't if I wouldn't have worked in Byju's today, my marketing skills wouldn't have that good if I was not a part of that company. So don't regret anything that happens in your life. Each and everything happens for a good cause. And I'll say we can go for question and answer if we have any.
Yeah, Shreyansh, thanks for your presentation. We have questions. I'll read it one by one.
Sure,
So,
sir.
first question is by Avinash Priya,
Uh-huh.
asking about how to educate yourself to take better pictures.
Okay, fine. So the most important thing that I told before itself, the most important thing that you have to work is on your perspective. The composition techniques, you can work on your composition technique. There's a lot of composition technique that we don't know, or we know but we don't keep in mind while clicking the pictures. You have to keep those thing in mind. The first thing that you have to educate yourself will be your composition technique. The second will be the color theory. So color theory I'll explain in a, simple way. Color theory are principles that from which you can use, combine, you can mix colors to get a harmonious picture, right? So color theory is basically how you can use picture and how you can combine pictures so that you can have a harmonious thing in front of you. So that is color theory. You should have a complete knowledge about colors, how colors work, how colors get combined with each other. So that is the most important thing. After that, see, and work on a particular genre. See which genre you are comfortable with, which genre you are doing good with. Don't try to do each and everything that you can see over here and there. See in if you want to be a product photographer, work on product photography. See how we can do product photography, what things are being included in product photography. Work on small thing, know how, what is saturation, know what is hue, how your histogram works, how your color theory works, what is highlights, what is shadows. These are small things that we don't keep in mind before clicking a picture. So these are very important things. See, for it is not the camera that click the pictures, it is you that click the pictures, right? It is never the camera that click it's a non-living object. It has no sense. You are the one that gives sense to your camera, right? So it never depends upon which camera model you have, which DSLR you have, which mobile phone you have. The most important thing that you have to work on will be your composition technique, the first thing, your color theory, and the genre that you're working on. I guess I've answered your question, Avinash, properly.
Yeah, and again, one more question from Avinash Priya only. How to select
Uh-huh.
background themes if doing a book photography based on the color of the book?
See, the answer will be same. Your color theory. You have to
I
work
think
on color
I
theory.
think you
Yeah.
have answered all three what she asked
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
she asked for. Again, third is being a travel blogger and doing
Mm-hmm.
for a going for the perfect shot. How to
Mm-hmm.
recognize about what part of particular place can be for a perfect shot so that it can connect to the audience. I think
See, the first picture that we click is we click in our eyes. We see the frame that we want to click. Then only we imagine that, and then only we pick up our camera and we click the picture, right? So the most important thing is your perspective in travel photography or in travel blogging. You have to work on your perspective. You have to set your frame before clicking the picture. And in travel, the your light source will be your sun, the natural light. So you should have knowledge, and you have to be there at the perfect time, at the perfect light. You should be present over there at the golden hour. That is the it can be sunset, it can be your sunrise, when the sun has the lowest intensity, right? So that
yeah,
is the thing. Yeah.
yeah. And again, one more question. What kind of photo can be the best for putting on the website if we're running a personal blog?
So okay, what type of blog it is? Yes.
I think it has to be a photography blog.
Okay, it's a photography. What type of pictures? See, photography is never like photography doesn't have any rules. It have rules, but it can be broken if you have a perfect reason for breaking those rules. So it is each and every photographer has a different way of clicking picture. Each and every photographer have a different way of sorting the pictures, of editing the pictures. So it will always be you who will decide that which picture I want to click, which picture I want to put on my website. Doesn't it only depends upon if the picture is perfectly clicked. It will, you only who will decide the picture is clicked perfectly or not, right? You don't have to see other factors that, and you don't have to ask anyone that which pictures I can put on website, which pictures I can't put on website. It is totally dependent upon you. And in putting pictures on website or social media, you have to keep in mind the thing that I've told before also, that is color, how these colors are being used. You can't keep a black and white picture with a colorful picture. The contrast will not work. You have to arrange pictures according to their color tone, which color tone they are. So work on your color tone if you have to put pictures on your website or travel blog or anywhere on your Instagram. So the most important thing you want to, in if you're putting pictures somewhere, the your aim is to convince, or your aim is to attract audience, right? So if you want to attract audience, the picture or the thing that you're putting online should be harmonious, should be appealing to the eyes of audience, right? So if you want something to appeal to someone's eyes, you have to work on your color tone. Which color tone, every picture has a different color tone. So each and every picture has a different color tone. That is the reason you have to put pictures that are harmonious to each other, right? You can't, they should not be more contrast to the picture that are being put each and by aside beside each other. So there should be a perfect color tone in pictures if you are putting these pictures on your Instagram or some anywhere on the website or online. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, Shreyansh, I would like to know, apart from
Mm-hmm.
photography, you have your own, you started your own production also. So I would
Yeah.
like to know that journey from your side. Like, what
Okay,
are
fine.
you trying, like different things, like which are related to photography and
Sure.
photography production?
Sure. So first of all, you have to work on your team before having a production house. See, you can't do each and every genre by yourself. In my team, I take care of live events, I take care of product. There are some people that take care of wedding, some guys who take care of fashion, right? So we have segregated our work. So for having a production house, the first thing that you have or that you should have is your team. And you have to segregate your work so that each and every member in the team can perform efficiently. If you'll burden a single photographer which each and every genre, which each and every department of photography, he'll not be perform efficiently. So segregating your work in your team is very important. If I'm taking care of product, if I'm taking care of live events, so I'll be more efficient in my work, right? So the first foremost thing that you have to keep in mind is building a team and segregating your work, right? So now if you have a team, the second thing that you have to work on is you have to register your company or whatever name that you have decided to government. Before doing that, you'll not be able to work properly. See, few things are there that you have to keep in mind if you want to work professionally. See, I guess I'm doing freelancing since 3 to 4 years, right? So freelancing is being a freelancer, you have to be disciplined. See, we do in freelancing, we it's like we don't have we wake up whatever time we want to wake up, we do whatever things we want to do. We whenever we have shoot, we'll be attentive. Whenever we don't have shoot, we roam here there, we do our rest stuff. But for time being, that is good, but not for if you want to work professionally and if you want to have a career in this field, right? You have to be very disciplined. You have to go to your studio each and every day, whether you have work or not. So, and for starting, it's not important that you should have a studio. You can rent a studio initially if you have less studio work. And after that, if your work increases, you can rent a studio, or you can uh, take a studio if you want to work. And the last thing that you have to do in making a production house, that will be registering your firm to government. There are few documentation that you have to go through. for doing registration in government. I guess shop act is there. Shop act, you have to fill a shop act, you have to have a GST number, you have to have a PAN of your separate firm. So after gathering these documents, you can apply for a firm in government, and you'll be registered as a production house in photography. So this is the whole process that you have to go through for having a production house.
Okay, that is really great. What you're like that is really great what you're doing. Apart from photography, you have your team, and
Yeah,
you're working as a team. Yes, I know working in a team is always better.
yeah,
And one point you have mentioned that is absolutely correct, that you have to be disciplined enough as a freelancer.
yeah.
One
Yes,
more question we have,
sure.
Shreyansh. If going for
Yeah.
a short range DSLR, which one would you recommend, Nikon or Canon? I think we can't, to be very frank, we can't recommend any brand. It's always like depend on Avinash. It's always depend on like your how you uh, carry different brands, how comfortable you are basically. Now, for example, I'm comfortable with Canon, so I will go with Canon. So definitely we can't recommend any brand, because Nikon is good at certain things, Canon is better at certain things. Am I
True.
like maybe Shreyansh will also add to this?
Yeah, yeah. See, I'll talk about myself. The first, when I was in, I guess 2014, when I was in second year, I participated in a photography competition. That was my first photography competition I've ever participated. And I was having a iPad at that time. It was 5 megapixel mini iPad mini, and each and every participant has DSLR and smartphone. And I won that competition, the first competition I participated in my life. So from that day, I got to know that it is never the camera that is important. Then today also I use Canon. No offense to Nikon. One more fact: Nikon was the first company that invented DSLR. So Nikon was the first company that invented DSLR, and it was never the camera that you can suggest. If you want to go for cameras and you want to start your career in photography, go for a crop sensor camera, right? A crop sensor camera is easy to use. So there are two segments in camera DSLRs. There are crop sensor camera and there are full frame cameras. Full frame cameras are being used by professionals and are being used to get more pixels and more composition, or I'll say more quality in your picture. If you are using those pictures for magazine, you are using those pictures for posters, then the full frame camera is very must. But if you're using your, and if you want, and I'll say if your perspective or your end result that you want to get is till social media, you can go for a crop sensor camera. So in Canon, I guess few models are coming right now. That is 1500D is a very great camera in a very mid range. You can go for that. And I guess I don't have much knowledge for Nikons because I haven't used any Nikon camera since. So in Canon, if you will ask, I'll say Canon 1500D is a good camera that has launched right now, and it is in a mid range.
Yeah, and again, what I believe in as a freelancer, as a freelancer, you should have complete hold on every brand, whether
Yeah,
it's Canon, Nikon, Sony, because you
yeah,
never know what client you will have, what requirement you will have. So
true,
I
true, true.
myself shot with Canon, then I started with Nikon, I continued with Canon, then recently we have done, my team and myself, we have done project on Sony. So it's completely depends on the situation and the kind of requirement you have.
And sometimes it's your customer requirement that I need this camera itself. I need a Sony camera itself, because each and every camera has a different picture. I'll say picture tone. If you click a picture in Canon, you'll get a different picture tone. If you click a picture in Sony or Nikon, you'll get a different picture tone. So sometimes it depends upon your customer that which picture tone your customer wants.
Yeah. So, see, it's completely depends on the client always. So, what requirement? If your client wants to shoot for hoardings like billboards, we call it,
Yeah,
and if you're blowing that image by 40 feet by 60 feet or more, then definitely you would go for medium format cameras. So,
yeah,
it's
right.
always depends on the requirement, especially when you're when you're working in commercial field, like if you're working for ad agencies, you're working for commercial projects, then definitely you are going for high end cameras like medium format. We have Hasselblad, we have phase 1 bags, so we have varieties in that, and these all brands and these all equipment are easily available also on renting. You don't need to always
Yeah,
buy equipment.
I forgot to told that. Yeah, you have a good point, Nilesh sir. That initially we also rent thing that we don't need. Sometimes it's like the customer is, I need this lens itself, but that lens is, it is not no use of my if I'll buy that lens. A lens cost rupees a lakh 50 15,000 50,000, 1.5 lakh 60,000, 80,000. So I can't keep each and every lens that is available in the market.
Yeah.
It sometimes customer centric. If customer wants that I need this lens, you can go online, you can go where we have a lot of shops in Pune and Mumbai that give things on rent on daily basis, and it is very cheap. It is approximately 500 rupees to 2000 rupees a day the rent comes, and you can rent from there and you can complete your work.
Yeah. So, right. So, always not necessary that all equipment you should have according
Yeah,
to the client. No, you can have your kit for sure. But if particular requirement comes from client, we have option of hiring it. There are many vendors in Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore.
yeah,
Wherever you work, you have these photography equipment vendors. Only thing is you need to just go register yourself, and they verify your documentation, and they
yeah,
verify your postal address, and then you can go ahead and rent these equipment.
yeah.
Yeah. So Shreyansh, I would like to know currently what you're doing and what kind of work you are what kind of project you're working on as a
Okay,
production
fine.
house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, I'm right now I'm more into corporates, uh, bars, restaurants, and live events. So I do a lot of corporate Amdocs and Abbott, Amdocs, Vodafone. These are my clients. So I do even corporate events for these companies, and secondly, I do live shows. I've worked for your Supersonic. I worked for the even the Diljit event. I worked for Pune Fashion Week. So these are the events that we took, and one segment of my team take care of wedding. So I don't go to wedding. I don't. I'll say I don't like doing wedding shoots. So they are separate photographer in my team that take care of wedding photography, and I take care of live events, corporate shoots, and restaurant bars. I do photography for restaurant bars, the food photography and beverage photography. So we have a lot of clients in Balewadi High Street in Pune. So we shoot for them, and we have few clients in Koregaon Park too in Pune. So we have associated with these restaurant bars and with these corporate companies for our work. Yeah.
Okay. Shreyansh, how many people you're working with? I mean, as a team, how many people are there with you?
So we are 6 to 7 people. One people is always we used to. I'll say we also hire freelancers if we get a big project. So the permanent member are six itself, and sometimes we hire more people as a freelancer if we have a big project. So right now we have a people of 6 people in our team, and it varies according to the event that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's good enough from my side. And thanks a lot for sharing your experience. And I'm sure you will do really well in future also. And
Thank you so much,
definitely
sir.
we will always connect in future if you come up
Sure,
with
sure,
some
sure,
new experience in your
sure,
profession, and share these with our students and with all other people whenever we are conducting all these webinars. And definitely we can arrange some more webinars and seminars for people.
sure, sir.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thanks for connecting,
Thank
uh,
you, sir.
and best luck for your future.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all. Thanks. And definitely, like Seamedu will be coming up with few more webinars in future. And stay safe, stay connected. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.